kind of just naturally start losing that control because you only have so much bandwidth as one person, you know, and you kind of have to start entrusting people. And so I think how I look at it is that, you know, I see everybody on my team as a potential leader down the line, and I want to see, I want their experience, you know, when they work with me to be a really good one. They feel like they're developing themselves, like their skills, and they kind of, you know, move forward. And hopefully, if we do get to that, you know, area, I have a very good foundation to continue, like,
we got data from Jatero's private server. Found out who's been procuring people for his recordings.
It's true. So, like, Facebook too. So.
Meet Jay Hume, human trafficker and bona fide piece of shit.
You know, because like at some
Check
level,
the
it's kind of like, you know,
deeds attached.
Now the way that I determine success is like, okay,
the Ferraris, the cars.
Yeah. Aside from that, like the concept of winning and what you want, right? So it's like everyone can win, but can they stomach it? It's like to get there, do you know what it takes? Do you know the sacrifice you have to make? And then I think in the early stages when you don't know the sacrifices that you have to make, everyone wants to be number one because they see like Kobe or they see like Nike or they see these big ass corporations and Jeff Bezos or whatever, right? And you go, damn, that's insane, right? And then you actually see what they did to get there and you're like, do I want that? Maybe I'm okay with just $1 million. I can live a great life. Maybe I don't have to do that, you know? I don't know.
I think that it's also important to ask yourself, it's like, you know, what is it, you know, like,
what do you want?
Yeah, what do you want? Because, like, you know, a lot of people say they want money, they want, like, you know, wealth, you know, why, though, especially if you're young. But you have to understand why, like, you know, I believe that most people want money because, like, what is it? It's your choice, it's your freedom. It's your fundamental thing. It's just that money, it's just that, you know.
Tell me what you think about this, okay? I think that most people that are telling you these things, it's all to make their anxiety and fears go away. Validation. Or your validation. Yeah. So like, it's like, I want what they got because their life looks better than mine, right? That's one. Or they look important, they look loved, I want that. That's two. Or like, if you look at the root of it, it's like I want attention because I never had attention as a kid, so I want to be a star. Or like, very rarely do people obsess and care so fucking much about their craft to the point where they want to share that with the world. That's like a vehicle to their actual pain.
Yeah.
I think that's, yeah. And then because I remember I was like, yeah, I want to make fuck tons of money. And I was like, why? Oh, because it was the root of my anxiety as a child, because my parents never had it. Or like, we were always having bill collectors call the house. So I'm like, I always want to I'm not going to be like them, where they're always in debt. I'm like, I'm going to be different. I'm going to make a ton. Because it was like, that was my answer to it. And when I hear people go, I want to make a lot of money, I'm like, I know where that comes from. It's because you don't want to suffer. That's all it is.
You're just like me, you know, you're gonna live life with always something to prove. That's how we live it.
Yeah, it's like we always have to. Yeah, I don't want things. I don't give a fuck about things. It's like I want this feeling to go away. Yeah.
All right, Benny. Next question here. What were your daily habits starting your business to get where you are now, and have they changed?
You jack off every day at least.
So stressful that I jack off the fucking.
It's like that Wolf of Wall Street scene. It's like, you jerk off? Oh, you gotta pump those numbers out, man. Remember that time with Matthew McConaughey? That's just how stressful, you know, Wall Street is nowadays. Oh, man. I think for me, it's like, man, I feel like for me, every day is kind of different. I mean, even right now, every day is different because, like, I'm just looking at what problems do I have to solve today. And, you know, and I solve them. And I think that I'm still trying to get into a routine. And now that I'm going to become a father now, right, I have to figure out a way to get into a routine. I can't just, like, have random, you know, I can't just be, you know, sleeping at 5 a.m. one day and then, you know, waking up at 6 a.m. another day for something else. Like, I kind of have to get a routine down as I kind of go. But I think back then, I was just desperate to try to make it. I was just trying to find every way to do it. And so I wasn't thinking about, I think this is a weakness of mine, is that I'm not a very structured person. I just kind of see, like, you know, if I see something, I just go. And, you know, let's say the analogy of
just like redlining every day. Like, you would get to a point where, like, okay, now it's time to sleep. And the next day, redline again. Now it's time to rest. And so it's just every day. It's kind of like inconsistent.
Yeah, and also because I have a really, really bad insomnia, so I've never really, like, had to, it's it's just been really tough for me. I just have really bad insomnia, and so for me, it's just always like until like I started taking melatonin at night, kind of that helps me sleep a little bit. I would just like wait until I just keep working until I just feel like I can't even open my eyes. And just like fall asleep back there. So man, those days were crazy. I still remember when I first like the early years dating my girlfriend, now my wife, is that my apartment used to be a mattress on the floor, so I was just so every day just focused on work. I didn't even care about the things that were really around me and stuff like that, and it was just go. And the analogy I always use is like that mostly represents how I look at things. Like if all of us agree to build a house, right? Yeah. And we all say, okay, Bart, start drawing up the blueprints, and then Gio, you work on the foundation, and then somebody handles cement. I'm already laying down bricks. I don't even, without knowing where that is. And so I think that a weakness of mine is I lack that structure, and that's what I'm trying to fix in myself right now. Is that, it's good to take action and go, but, you gotta have that balance too of making sure that you plan properly. It's almost like, what you said. It's like, you gotta make sure your car is good before, as you go. Otherwise, like, you're fixing it on the way there, which is gonna make it. So.
How, like, for yourself, you guys actually ended up having a lot of those lessons come back to you because of the fact that you weren't so structured? Like, there were moments where you're like, damn, I should have my own back.
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say, like, when things happen, and I think that how I look at it as, there could, maybe I could have made better decisions, and I can always analyze it, but I look at it as, this is what, I guess this is what life, like, put me through, and, there's positives and negatives, of how I ended up today, and that's kind of how, I look at it.
Have you ever considered teaming up with someone with that strength that comes naturally to them, or hiring someone, or?
I do, but trust is a big thing for me. Like for me, like I don't.
That's why you're very like I need to build the skill of my own.
And here
Kind of, yeah. I think I don't know where like the lack of trust. I mean, for me, I don't open up to people like that easily, and and for me, like I keep to myself like most of the time.
You're not lazy enough, is what it is. Laziness is like for me.
Yeah, bro.
I'm like, yo, man, filmmaking is. Oh, it's tough. Let's find somebody.
Yep.
Bing. Like it's like, yo, man, I don't want to fucking host JK News. Bing. You know what I mean? Like, can somebody go and talk to these people and kind of socialize? Bing. You know what I mean? Like, can you bring these new guests in? And I'm like, cool, I can share my pie. I don't give a fuck. Like, how bad can they really fuck me over?
Hulu, pass, live, sports, Hulu.
They know it's dope, but it's Hulu doesn't just have live sports. I don't know. We can make that work, right?
Hulu doesn't just have live sports, it's a lifestyle.
Crypto.com Visa card. A metal card. Powered by crypto. How about these perks? Reserve yours now.
Oh, not good, not good.
Yeah, see, we're the opposite. Like, for me, it's like, I didn't know how to write, so I learned to write. I didn't...
Yeah, you develop the skill. I'm immediately like, oh, that's too much work. Somebody help me. Somebody help me.
I think those are the habits. I think that's it,
Probably, yeah.
Like where you're interested in something, and instead of just kind of going like, oh, shit, what do I do? You're like, okay, I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to learn how to do it on my own. And when do you know when to stop, like, in a day? Like, is it when the task is done? Or is it when you're like, I'm
Yeah, I'm learning that lesson with my wife, actually, because, like...
that you get exhausted?
She fucking yells at your ass.
No, because she's like, because I feel bad, because, like, sometimes it's kind of like, I'm working, and then next thing you know, like, she's knocking on the door, like, hey, I know you're working, but it's 9 p.m., and you haven't eaten anything all day, and you should...
Dude, that's so considerate.
What a cool partner.
I've been like, yo, I haven't had any dick in a week. What the fuck? I would have been a horrible wife to you. She's like, yo, you haven't ate, honey. Like, are you okay?
Wow.
Yeah. You did a blowjob?
Yeah.
You're like, no, man, this pussy's dry, homie. Like, you just been in that room.
Thank God you weren't a woman, dude.
You make the scariest woman ever.
Yo, bro, this pussy's dry, dog.
Get some dick around here. Like,
You're gonna dig me down, dog.
Dude, I thought I was gonna get plenty of dick. What the fuck? You're out here working till 9:30. Work on this body, goddammit.
Oh man, so yeah, I mean, I'm trying, and so I think that it's like now I'm just kind of like, there comes a time when it's kind of like, it's almost like driving a car. You know how far it's gonna get there, but I'm just still driving, and like, you know, but I need to realize that, hey, like, it takes time to, you can't go across the country in like one drive. You gotta
be like rest stops and.
Yeah, so I don't really know when to rest yet, and so, you know, I don't know. I'll literally like be working, and then, you know, without drinking, I've gone like, you know, 7-8 hours without like drinking any water.
You're just really good at tapping into the zone, man. Yeah, you're just good at flowing. But then it's like the Avatar, when you're too much into it, it's gonna make you sick.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
You gotta control the flow, or else you'll burn out, like, and have some hella health problems. I think that's what happens.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. I got to the place where it gets scary sometimes, and I think I want to caution anyone getting into business too, because like don't follow my path either, because I think that it's gotten to the point where it's funny. Like I sometimes don't even know when I'm stressed out. Like, you know that feeling when you work for so long and like you know you're stressed and you know you're tired, but like somehow like the distance between mind and body, man. You know,
You should work with a camelback. Really? Like, what?
just have it to your and you go.
At least the cans.
Hydrate yourself, at least, my friend.
And the Chinese foot massagers, so at least you're like constantly getting de-stressed.
I do have like a foot massager, like a Shiatsu foot massager. I just have it, and so, you know, sometimes I'll be attending meetings and I was like, okay, this is relaxing, this is good, this is cool.
Alright, so the last question I had here, kind of you touched on a little bit, is what does your average workload/workday look like as the CEO of NextShark, pre and current state in COVID?
Wait, the last part is what?
It's like a second part to the question, which is pre and current state in COVID.
Okay. I think that in terms of like, I just got more busier nowadays because like, you know, we're reporting a lot on, you know, crimes against Asian Americans and the rising Asian American rhetoric, right? Rising anti-Asian rhetoric. And so, I think that
It's working, by the way. I was watching just like regular cable TV, and like these stories that are like, you know, a lot of my like I'll repost NextShark or a bunch of other Asian avenues, and then a lot of like the non-Asian followers would be like, oh my god, I didn't know this shit was happening. This is fucking crazy, right? And then we're like, yeah, it's been happening, and it's cool that like there's places like NextShark's getting it out there, that it's finally even on like regular TV. And I was watching regular TV, and they're reporting it out. I'm like, yes, it's working.
Just mention something about it too.
first presidential speech.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it's just it all started because of NextShark, Asians with Attitudes, Asian. There's another. I'm gonna.
Jackfruit also.
Jackfruit.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, there's been a lot of great you know, local reporters too, like Saifon.
Yes.
There was like, you know, Dion Lamb. She's been really amazing too. I also got to give shout outs to like Daniel Day Kim, Daniel Wu, and Lisa Ling.
Oh, they did that.
Oh, Lisa Ling is on.
Yeah, like they brought me onto this clubhouse, and you know, and I felt the smallest person in the room, but they basically like, you know, lifted me up. They gave a big like shout out. Like, I mean, you know, I get it. Like, there's been a lot of people like, you know, in the ground floor volunteers have been doing this work for a while, but like, you know, again, like these guys have big platforms, and you know, and celebrities, like not just Asian American celebrities, there's celebrities in general. Like they tend to avoid like topics like this, and the fact that, you know, they're coming out and they're speaking out, using their platform to kind of amplify things forward like that. I think that, you know, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, I think it's cool because it's like a unified effort between all of us, like just trying to get that word out to keep, you know, our elders and everybody safe. Just know, like, oh shit, this shit's happening, so, you know, watch your back. Yeah.
It's beautiful too, in a sense, to see. I mean, it sucks. Obviously, it sucks to see like what is happening, but it's cool to see like the community really working hard to try to come together on some level. And I think that this is something that, you know, had to have been done at some point. And so, I mean, hopefully, I think that we're moving in the right direction. I mean, of course, shit's still happening. I mean, I don't, you know, obviously, no one can guarantee that hate crimes and stuff are going to stop. But you know, let's just try to keep it together.
The thing is, once the public has a view on it, then the law enforcement is they have to do something about it, because they're like, oh shit, we look bad because we're not, you know,
people and the corporations and the media, like they're getting pressure now to, you know, really talk about it and to acknowledge it and to find using their resource and their capital to try to help out too, because it is an important issue, you know.
So with the peak in you know, anti-Asian, I guess, sentiment that's been going on and making you more busy, like what does that week look like versus, you know, the beginning of COVID versus
So I think nothing has changed except for me getting busier. However, like my day is very sporadic. I mean, it's funny because I feel like I think some of my teamers don't think I sleep because like for me it's kind of like we have like our own like global dedicated like Slack channel for everybody on the team, and like we have like different group chats, like we share memes with each other and stuff and everything, and I'm checking at it all the time. Even when I go up in the middle of the night to use the restroom and stuff, like I'm on it talking to trying to just checking in and stuff. So it's almost like I'm conditioned to just like I'm conditioned to check in like pretty much like all the time, and so which is something I'm trying to fix too about myself. But it's funny because like they're like, wow, I think Benny seems to be just always awake. Like I see him checking in at sometimes at 3 a.m., sometimes at 5 a.m., sometimes middle of the day during work days and stuff. I think that it's like I might have to rest, and then once I feel like I got some rest, it's just
You wake up the same time every day, or every day is
different. I mean, sometimes like even this week, right? So like for example, I try to wake up by like 8 or 9 a.m. every day, like consistently, but my schedule is just sporadic. So sometimes like let's say on Wednesday I had to get up early for an interview at the East Coast time. So I had to get up around like I think I got up at 5 a.m. around that time, and so I slept early then to catch up with my sleep. But then there was another time when Neck Sharks where I had to work. There was a tech issue with Neck Shark, and so I had to like work like throughout the night with our web developers up until like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, and obviously there I fell asleep around that time. So yeah, it's still very, very sporadic, and I think a big part of my time right now is I think what's different in terms of like my duties is that I'm taking myself away more for the day-to-day at Next Shark, and and more of it is like kind of like a lot of meetings, and a lot of it's just checking up on the team, and I'm actually finding a lot of value in just doing one-on-ones with your team members, because just to see how they're doing, just to show that you kind of care, and just to shoot the shit with them, because like what's happening right now, it's kind of tough to report on all these news.
It must be pretty draining just as a viewer. Like to constantly open up my Instagram, and then I see like some violent shit, and then I see some butt cheeks to relax me, and then there's a cute little puppy, and again there's some like hate crime thing going on, and I'm like, yo man, that shit's fucking with my heart. I'm starting to get horny off of this shit, and that's not shouldn't happen.
Why do I feel like a corporal? What's all this about?
I'm like angry.
It's too mixed up, man. Get emotions,
Sounded, huh?
It's like, yo, this girl
Well, you
looks
never
good
liked
as
swimming with
bikini,
the
and then
sharks.
next it's like, oh my god, the horror. And then I'm like, we gotta do something about this, and I'm all fucking pissed. And I'm like, if I see these fuckers on the street, I'm gonna fucking beat their ass.
What happens if you can't
and
pay
then
it
I fucking
off?
go, oh my god, is that a deer? Oh, it's a deer in the fucking winter forest? That is so cute, right? But the thing is, I think that just as a viewer, it's kind of so shocking just being on your end with people submitting countless amounts of footage, and all you guys see is non-stop elders getting beat, people getting hurt, whatever, crimes, robberies, whatever, right? Doesn't that do something to your site? Because I know for our hosts, when they have to filter through the news, when there's a negative kind of season, where there is a trend, right? Everyone's all into murders this year, or whatever, like, or like there's a trend of like, oh, there's a lot of hate crimes, right?
Try my best.
It takes a toll on that psyche, because you think that's the whole world. But how do you guys deal with that psychologically?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I think that first of all, to acknowledge you, I think that you're the opposite of how like I'm feeling. I'm just feeling freaking numb about all this. For you, you don't even know what to feel anymore, because so many things are approaching you, or just like you're just.
It's just like you're so desensitized because of how often it.
For me personally, it's desensitized, because like, I've been doing this for like, we covered hate crimes even before this, right? But obviously in terms of the rise in hate crimes, it's been over a year now, and a lot of the times is that you got to look at it this way. So it went from maybe 1 to 2 news tips a week to up to 50 a day.
Wow.
Yeah, fun news tips and stuff like that. Now, granted, like, there was a lot that was like, like maybe, different people, 10 different people will submit a report for the same thing, right? But still, it's still concerning in a sense, right? Of like, so many people submitting like incidents reports and everything. So, and oftentimes, like, because we have to review these footages, like we can't just like be like, oh yeah, this happened, let's repose it. We have to actually vet it, and we have to talk to the people involved and everything. And sometimes like it involves like viewing a lot of distressing footage, and we get trolls, man. We've gotten like people just sending us videos of somebody beating up other people like to a pulp, literally. And like like we got a video of like a housebreaking without any context of like a gentleman beating a woman, and you could hear like you could hear like bones like cracking, like just really bad, like just like.
And they just do it because they don't want to scary fuck with you guys.
I don't know what they want to do. We just get a lot of like.
You guys do get a lot of fucking trolls, man. Like fake racist accounts. Just you don't know. Like they're just fake ass accounts that are just fucking with your community, the commenters. You guys, like, it's pretty bad.
It is, and it's tough, and so now like you're dealing with that, and then my staff members, I mean, they're not only having to deal with the emotional toll of vetting these stories and reviewing distressing footage, they're also dealing with their own cyberbullying themselves online. They're also dealing with death threats and stuff. For me, like as an organization, we believe in supporting other minority communities, and so we took a position of supporting the BLM movement when that happened, and so. During that time, like, yeah, we got like some death threats. We got like, a lot of like, we got doxxed. Some of our, got doxxed too. It was pretty bad, and so it got to the point where, I've had to, give my workers mental health breaks, and I've had to, get everyone together on a session. I needed to. It's not just them. I freaking need it from all the stuff that I do. And, for me, like, I'm on the ground floor with these guys, so even though, like, I don't do the day-to-day, like, I do my best to experience what my workers experience every day, and that involves, like, just observing what's happening, seeing the types of stories that they're vetting, and just seeing generally what's going on. So it affects me, too, and so, I saw it from early on, and so, we did our first, like, mental health session, full company-wide. I think it was, like, back in March or April or something, and, from there, I think what's really keeping us together is, number one, like, us, we keep each other together because we talk to each other all the time. We're always constantly keeping up with just making sure everybody's okay. And then another thing is the supporters. Like, we do have a lot of supporters that send us nice information, send us nice notes too. So
the balance.
Yeah, no, there's a good balance between the two. But sometimes, like, you know how the world is. People, sometimes like the negatives outshine the positive. It's just the way it is.
How do you do the company-wide therapy? Can you bring like a therapist?
Yeah, you either bring in like a therapist, or you bring in somebody that that has done this sort of work before to just talk to the team. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like an official therapy session, but just all of us getting together, just talking about what's going on. Like, how are you feeling? Yeah, how are you feeling right now? Like,
does that therapist feel gangbanged after? Does it smoking a cigarette in their car? Like fuck you, I talked to one person. I got fucking 10 people.
Luckily, the person that helped us, like they volunteered to help us out, and we've been very lucky. Like, we've had like actual like licensed psychiatrist therapists like offer up their time, be like, hey, if you need anything, you let me know. So we have that in the back burner. But I think for the most part, like, how I look at it is, what, you do you. If you guys need a break for any reason whatsoever, just let us know. Like, we'll figure out a way to take care of you. If you're feeling at any point that this work is too much, then yeah, just let me know. And it goes along with the followers too. I don't know if you saw that post we did. So like literally, like, I think it was like 4 weeks ago. Like we wrote like a post to our audience on Instagram. We were like, hey, hate crimes against Asian Americans are rising, and oftentimes like you're probably going to see a lot of distressing stuff on our account, and we know that the emotional toll that could bring to you guys helps. So if you guys need to unfollow us or even like mute us for a while, we totally understand. Like we're not going to take it personally, and surprisingly people like it got really well received and stuff too, and so we're trying to be cognizant of everything that's happening. So I don't want to make it seem like I think some trolls that criticize, you're trying to like, profit off of like, all these other things. Like, no, we don't have fun doing this. And let's put it this way: how many brands do you guys know at this point would, it's not like I can sell ads against like this, you know what I mean? Like, sponsored by whoever, you know what I mean? Like,
a man dies on the street after getting beat. Sponsored by Jumpy!
it's like, so it's like, you know, we're not doing it for the money. We don't really care so much about the clout. In fact, like, we want more people to get involved. Like, we're not activists. You know, we can only, you know, all we can do is do what we do best and try to present the facts and the stories as is in the most responsible way possible. We don't get 100% right all the time, but we do our best to, you know, work hard. And we're just human, just like everyone else, you know. And all of us, I mean, even with you guys at JK News, like, you guys just want to know what's going on in the world, you know, and try to make sense of it, because there's so much noise right now, you know, and you don't know what's real, you don't know what's false anymore. It takes a big toll.
That's true, man. Well, I think that it's awesome putting a face to the brand, because I know that, you know, we have a lot of crossover fans who follow Nextshark's Instagram account, and a lot of the times when I follow, like, accounts, like, I'm so used to seeing, like, meme accounts, right, or just pictures, or, like, pictures and captions, and they don't realize that there's humans behind these videos, and they have to filter and all that. So, like, you know, it's pretty cool that now there's someone in the flesh that can represent Nextshark, and they can see that, because it's like, guys, like, all of these things require human beings to, like, you know, deal with. And then sometimes I think that's why it attracts so many fucked up people to it, or like angry people or whatever, because it's like they don't know that there's a human being that they're hurting behind there.
Yeah, and I think that also, like, I think it's easy to say that, you know, and it's really easy to kind of see me, and it's like, oh, I'm trying to prop myself up as, like, voice of Asian Americans in the context of Nextshark, and that's not the case. I think that, you know, I look at it as our community is made up of so many different types of people, right? And you know, I am East Asian, and I have a certain background that I was raised with that many other people that identify as Asian Americans that don't like align with. You know, it's not the same experience.
I never want to be a role model and representative. I talk about rim jobs for a living, you know what I mean? So, like, if people are like, you gotta be a good role model, it's like,
there's an audience for that, it's okay.
This is a travesty.
Fucking hell!
今4人も失うリスクは負えねえよ。普段ならお前がどこで死のうが知ったこっちゃねえがな。
Look out! Look out!
出ておいで。ママが探す